In a continuing spiraling PR situation with the White House, Joe Biden has pardoned his son Hunter after saying that he would never do so. Now, some Hollywood actors are even feeling safe and coming out and being based, declaring that they are not part of the unhinged, crazy, woke left. But that same crazy, unhinged, woke left is now ready to cancel every single one of them, including the voice of Winnie the Pooh.
It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we as ever endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, and we do so with a joy that drives those without joy a little mad, a little batty, if you will, but we're bringing the honey yet again. Happy Monday, folks. Hope you had a great holiday week and a weekend. Hope you had many calories, lots of turkeys, and we hope you found all kinds of discounts and deals at the stores out there. Retail, we hope you're telling good stories today. All right, and wokeness has the starter for this one because this is sort of a PR turning point, and I want you to pay attention to the PR turning point because it is that which is shattering the narrative and the mass formation thought processes of so many. Because once Joe Biden pardoned his son, it opens the floodgates for criticism now because people begin to take their blinders off. Now, Joe Biden doesn't care because he's taking care of his son, and we're not going to weigh in onto the politics of that necessarily. We are an entertainment channel. What we are here to talk about, though, is that this is but many, or one of many things that has happened that has caused even the Hollywood celebrities who were middle of the row, centrists, moderates, I know they're not supposed to exist, but those celebrities who have held mainstream views, majority views, and have never been allowed to speak them, they're coming out and they're shouting out, hey, let's go back to normal again. And the absolute fringe crazies want to cancel them, but they don't have the power to do so, including, by the way, Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh. We'll get to all of it. Here is the video of the press secretary for the White House just a few months ago saying that the pardon would never happen.
The president would not pardon or commute the sentence for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying it would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
But of course he did. And well, this goes right along with everything that we have known for so long, which is that politicians lie. And that is breaking the mystique, right? Because they could blame Harris, they could blame all of these different people. They could say it's the orange man, but now it's getting harder because the president himself is making his son above the law. All right, well, here's Jim Cummings. You might know Jim Cummings. If you don't know him, you probably do know his voice. He's the cute little firefly in Tiana's Bayou Adventure. No surprise, by the way, that Ray is not featured in Tiana's Bayou Adventure now. Wonder how long until they evict any reference to those fireflies at Disney. But he's the voice of your past. He is Darkwing Duck. He is Winnie the Pooh. He's Tigger. He's so many. You see them there. They may have to make changes, right, to Smuggler's Run over at Disney's Hollywood Studios because he's the voice of the animatronic there. He says, yep, I voiced your childhood. And indeed, he did. But he has done something that has unleashed the crazies, the wackies, and the wackos. Here's what we've got, folks. Out of That Park Place, the website that if you're not yet bookmarked, well, you should be, Disney fans turn on poor Winnie the Pooh as voice actor Jim Cummings is attacked online over alleged support of Donald Trump. Now, clarification, this by M. Montanaro. Clarification, he's not really supporting Donald Trump necessarily. He's just giving a moderate, centrist, common sense kind of statement repeatedly. And that's the part that's driving them nuts, is that it's repeatedly. He will not bend the knee. Know that honey guzzling Jim Cummings will not bend down and kiss the ring and say sorry because he's no longer afraid of being canceled. And it begs the question, how many other Hollywood centrists are going to say enough is enough? Here's the article. Oh, bother indeed. Jim Cummings, the beloved Disney voice of Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Darkwing Duck, and many other iconic characters, is being attacked by unhinged fans over alleged support of the president-elect. To put this in perspective, Jim Cummings' huge crime in the eyes of these fans is simply stating that the former president is not reminiscent of the most evil person, perhaps, of the past century. Cummings responded to an ex-post made by Trump parody account, which shared an image of a woman holding a sign that said, "If Trump isn't one of the most evil people in the prior century, then I'm a moron." And Jim Cummings, the voice of Winnie the Pooh, the voice of Tigger, the voice of lots of other characters too, said, "Who is this moron?" Affirming that he does not think, clearly, that Orange Man is synonymous with the worst guy in the past century, although there are a rogues roster of bad people. So when we say that that Adolf was the worst, folks, there were some really bad ones too. 3 or 4 or 5 that you could put in that place that are just awful, creating massive suffering. And so good for Jim Cummings of recognizing that Orange Man is not, whatever you might think of him, the president-elect, Donald Trump, is not anywhere in that list of people. I mean, it's insane, right? The longtime Disney voice actor responded simply by saying, "Who is this moron?" After that innocent, seemingly joking statement, people lost their minds. Here's Claire. "As someone who grew up with your Pooh and Tigger, this is incredibly heartbreaking." You can see Claire's picture there. Claire seems balanced. Then we've got Mr. Keyrock, CEO of Screams, says, "Jim, you've disappointed millions of people today." Wow. And it keeps going. Some users claim to be crushed by Cummings' seeming acceptance of a political party that differs from their preference, while others went a more profane and hateful route. And folks, I'm going to tell you, Jim Cummings did not come out and say that he supports or endorses anybody, that he didn't say anything other than he's not Adolf. Like, that should be clear. Ex-user Freddie Krugesar said, "And now we know you're a rapid piece of blank, typical hateful geriatric boomer." It should be noted at this juncture that Cummings expressed no hatred towards anyone, yet this poster is being particularly hateful while using images of children's cartoon characters to make their point. It should also be noted that Cummings, the man who these people are maligning as a terrible human being, partners with Make-A-Wish Foundation in his spare time to call sick children as Winnie the Pooh to bring a little brightness and happiness into their world. What happened to you, Jim? What the heck happened to you? Now, just to say, one of the things that's irritating all of these people is that they don't have the cancel button anymore. They can't cancel Jim Cummings. They can't cancel the voice of Winnie the Pooh, Tigger 2. They can't do it. They don't have the power anymore. They have lost the ability to gatekeep when Elon Musk bought X. And the majority of Americans do not agree with them, not even close. Even the people who don't like Trump generally don't agree with these people. And so they've lost their power. They've lost their maniacal power to suppress thought and to destroy logic. And this is yet another example where they cannot do anything to prevent Jim Cummings from giving his thought, his reasonable thought. And so why are they angry? Well, because this is the beginning, not the end, and they know it. From this, let's take a look at Jim Cummings' responses over the last few days, because he's emboldened, he's empowered by this. You know how good it must feel for some of these celebrities to finally get to say what they've been thinking? I bet it's like taking a shower, to have been 8, 10, 12 years of never being able to just say what's reasonable for fear that you'll lose your job. And now they can say it. Wow, how good must that feel? Do you support RFK's banning all poisonous processed foods in children's lunches? Jim Cummings says yes. Then he's singing with Jodie Benson, the voice of The Little Mermaid. I wonder, will the voice of Ariel come out at some point and say, you know what, this has all been crazy and zany. How many other celebrities are going to join in on this? But in the middle of that, should a woman go to jail for falsely accusing a man of something terrible? Jim Cummings, yes. Do you support keeping men out of all women's sports, making it illegal in every state? Jim Cummings says yes, because we have now reached the point where you don't have to hide any longer if you have reasonable opinions. And you know what the other thing is that will do? Take a look at some of these voice actors here. You've got Rob Paulson and Billy West. One of the things it does is it will allow the other voice actors and other celebrities now to be brave, where they have not been brave in the past. And they had reason to not be brave. They would have been canceled immediately. But they can pardon themselves and get out there and say, you know what? I'm not going to be politically divisive. I'm simply going to say, I'm going to take some reasonable positions and say, we don't have to call our current president Adolf, because he's not. Because that's insanity. Just like the last one wasn't, and the one before wasn't. That's insanity to make that claim. But it also does something like Rob Paulson is way out there, right? Rob Paulson has a serious case of TDS. And I'm not here to be mean to Rob Paulson, but it puts pressure on Rob Paulson, because if Jim Cummings, who he's shared the screen and shared, all kinds of efforts with, if Jim Cummings is out there saying, you know what, I'm going to take a reasonable stance, it puts Rob Paulson in a position where now he's got to contemplate that, right? Like, it's no longer safe to just go out there and have crazy stances that are clearly ahistorical and are clearly part of hysteria. It's no longer possible to do that, because as people with reasonable and logical and centrist positions come out and make their declaration without fear, then the fear is, I guess, from the far, far, far fringes, that the orthodoxy, the hegemony of insanity will dissolve away. You know this, by the way. If you've ever played on a sports team and everybody on the team came up with some sort of crazy strategy to win the game, when that starts to fail, when that doesn't work, they'll very quickly, you'll start to hear murmurs. And then once you've got a few players who say, this isn't working, we need to change the strategy, this really sucks, then all of a sudden, everybody will break from it. And that's what you're seeing. The fissures, the fractures. And I think, honestly, that the pardoning of Hunter Biden will expedite that dramatically. Because you're going to see celebrities, you're going to see average people who say, you know what? We've done this thing now for years and years where everything was so abstractly right versus wrong, good versus evil. Orange Man is the worst thing since Satan. And everybody against him is on the side of absolute virtue. And if you said anything outside of that, you would be canceled forever. And I think that is ending now, because things like pardoning your own son for the crazy stuff that Hunter's been involved in, there will be narratives to make excuses for it. But it is what it is. You said you would never pardon, you did. It's going to expedite. It's going to expedite people feeling free now to give their opinions and their thoughts. And that's good. Because, folks, again, this isn't a political channel. Now, we're covering a political topic because the voice of Winnie the Pooh is under fire. They want him canceled and removed from Disney. And by golly, Disney, if you remove Jim Cummings, we will be on that. Guarantee you, every day we'll be on that. That would be on par with Gina Carano. Do you want another Gina Carano situation, Disney? Do you want another Gina Carano situation? So, we're going to be following this because he's not making a strongly divisive position. He's giving the centrist moderate position. And we're watching. Can entertainers make common sense, reasonable, middle ground statements and survive in Hollywood now? And that's strongly in the purview of this channel's interests. And we're watching it. And we're going to keep covering it. And we're going to keep covering, will free discourse and free speech suddenly start to reign out in Hollywood? I don't necessarily want celebrities making strongly divisive positions known. I don't think it's good for your career to come out and alienate 80% of the audience. So if you hold a position that only 20% agree with you on, then as a celebrity, you've really got to think to yourself, should I make this statement and alienate 80% of my audience, or should I just keep it to myself and do my job? It's kind of like if you're a plumber, right? If you're a plumber and you wear the red MAGA hat and all of that stuff, and you're going to alienate some of your customers. Whereas if you just wear normal clothes, you won't. There's nothing wrong with wearing, politically affiliated clothes or making politically affiliated statements. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But it will diminish your reach if you do so. But with people like Jim Cummings, he's just saying, hey, the current president is not analogous to Adolf. And to me, that's not anywhere outside of the mainstream. That Like, I would think 90% of people agree with that. I think that we elevate voices of insanity online for some reason. And so for Cummings and for others who want to come out there now and give their centrist, reasonable, well-reasoned thoughts, we're watching to see, will it survive in Hollywood? And does this create a domino effect? It's going to be very interesting to watch, and I, for one, cannot wait to cover it. It's a wonderful anecdote to the view. It's a wonderful, what would you say, a salve after having to suffer through late night television. It's great to see some people stepping forward and saying, you know what? Here is a reasonable, moderate kind of thought that could bring us all together. And if you're crazy and if you're unhinged, sorry, I'm still going to say it. Pardon me. All right, folks, you can help us send this out into the stratosphere. Click that like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, we would love it if you would share this out on your favorite social media platforms. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, thank you for inviting us into your day. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Are you sick and tired of stuff being swept under the rug because you or the media are too lazy to actually deal with it? Or are things just building up around you so much that you can no longer ignore it? Also like the mainstream media? Well, I got the solution for you. I'm Wilton the Troll, and I want to tell you about this revolutionary new product called Jonas. That's right, no longer do you have to put up with stuff shoved under the rug. You can actually get rid of it and dispose of the problem in seconds by using Jonas. You can, in a matter of seconds, deal with the political and illogical buildup of the muck and grime around you effectively and efficiently with Jonas. You might think this is an ordinary vacuum, but you'd be wrong. You can clean up and remove from one end, but Jonas, he actually works from both ends. From the back end, Jonas can blow a whole bunch of hot air, and that's cool. Remember, folks, if you actually want to deal with the dirt and grime the mainstream media has been neglectful about, get Jonas, 'cause Jonas sucks.